surrender the ego. But the ego is the part of me which makes me distinct in my earthly identity. It allows me to enjoy the passions and celebrations of being human as well as the trials and tribulations. Is it not as valuable to be blended by the moment as it is to take a step back to see the bigger power? Love from an egomaniac. It depends what you define ego to be. If you ask me, I would say ego is being not natural, not feeling at home, not having a sense of belonging. This creates tension in us. This creates problem in us. This makes you stiff and suffer somewhere deep inside and bring tears to your eyes. In that sense, that attitude is not of much use to you once you have grown up. Ego is essential to certain stage of growth. But then it has to be transcended. See, like a worm, the intention of a worm is to fly high, but it wounds itself into a cocoon. It does just the opposite. But then it comes out of the cocoon as a butterfly, then it flies, it has wings now. Isn't it? In the same way, when at the age of 2 or even 1.5 or 2, you get into an ego shell and then you grow in it. Thinner it is, better it is. So very, very thick, you get suffocated, die in a cocoon. Then there is no joy in life, there is no blossoming. So once you cross certain age, then you realize that all that you went through as a teenager, all the uproar, all the emotional yo-yo, all that has dropped you, you started smiling from a different space. You became mature. At this time, the ego also had to be dropped. It drops if the growth is balanced and perfect. And if there is imbalance, our mental growth does not go beyond 15, 16 or 17. Many people have grown physically, they have aged, but their mind has stopped at 5 or 15 or 20. This is fact. The school-going children, they sometimes say, my teacher is better than your teacher. My mother is better than your mother. My dad is better. Don't they speak that? They do it in India and all that. They must be doing everywhere in the world. My car is better than your car. My things are better than your things. And people stick on to this, and they go even up to so-called mature people in the country's highest positions. See, my country is better than your country. My state is better than your state. Surprising. If you ask many head of the state to give a 5-minute talk, they blabber. They cannot speak sense. They will say how their country and why their country is special and better. In the United Nations they'll speak such things. You really feel sorry for these people. Because they have not grown, matured at all. They could not speak something to create harmony in the world. Instead they are fighting for some little rights for their country in some position, some their flags to be flown higher, or very silly, childish mentality you find in even in a place like United Nations. Isn't it? Just carefully listen. You don't even have to carefully listen. Just listen with a little attention. You can see such smallness in people's attitudes. And I tell you, this is not essential. If you are big, then you say, there is no ego there. But if you call that identification as ego, you want to keep it, keep it. Somewhere you want to show off, show off. But at least you are aware you are showing it off. It's okay. Then it will not disturb you. It will not throw you off balance. You will be still able to smile from the depth of your heart. Ego will not allow you to smile naturally. Ego will create the fear in you. What other people think about me? Are they respecting me or not? If they respect you or not, so what? Ego means giving importance to someone else's thoughts, which are anyway momentary. See, this moment, it's 8:36. Now, this moment, it's already going back. Quickly, I have to be very quick. At this moment, in the whole world, there are 6 billion people in the world, and 6 billion thoughts are just popping up from the minds. 6 billion heads. And next, already 37. Already they have gone. Another 6 billion thought. So every moment there are 6 billion thoughts just popping out of minds in the world. 6 billion, can you imagine? Per second. So what? They are gone. All the thoughts gone. The previous minute's thoughts have all disappeared. Next moment, like bubbles in the water, they keep arising. So many thoughts come. Sometimes good, sometimes not good, bad. So what? Who cares? But everybody cares for this. That is ego. Most people care what the other person thinks. So what? They think and then they change. They are all changing all the time. Ego needs the other to be there. All alone by yourself, your ego falls off. That's why an egoistic person is either very comfortable being alone or be uncomfortable being alone. Do you see? They want someone else to express the ego, or because they were so tired expressing all the time and nothing works, so they like to be alone. If you are natural, you don't mind if you are with people or there are no people, because you are the same. you getting what I'm saying? No, you don't try to erase the ego. You are aware of it, just let go. Just don't do anything about it. You're trying to erase the ego, becomes another problem. There's a story about Mullah Nasruddin. Mullah Nasruddin went to Calgary. So when he went to Calgary, he was honored there in a very big way. But he had no friends to watch or see, and there was unfortunately no video camera, nobody had a tape recorder even. So some people gave very good compliments, praise and everything. But Mullah was searching in the whole crowd, is there someone from Turkey, from his hometown or anywhere nearby? Even a German would do. So he even asked in the mic, are there any Germans here? Nobody raised their hand. Said, is there any French? Nobody raised their hand. Suddenly Mullah became very sad. He said, so unfortunate I am, so unlucky I am. All this honor, all these praises for me, not a single person from my hometown did hear this. Ego wants recognition. The two recognitions from people with whom you want to show off. In an unknown place, strangers, if they compliment you, don't value it much. You see what I'm saying? If this is your definition of ego, that should be superseded or transcended. You have to go further than that. The cocoon has to be broken out and you have to come out flying colors. That is back to innocence. That is back to the self. Self and ego both cannot exist in the way we define ego. But if you just say ego as an identification which you consciously have, that is fine. You have many roles to play. Sometimes you are a father, sometimes you are a customer, sometimes you are a husband. You are somebody at some given point. That is fine. And if you know you are playing a role of somebody, that is fine. That ego, you cannot eradicate it. That will remain. Let it remain. What is the need to get rid of it? And any time you feel that you have found yourself as a separate, then again and again you come to that delicate, loving space deep inside you. That is surrender. You know, your mistakes keep you humble. Unless and until you become so totally soaked in knowledge, you keep doing mistakes. And that's a very good thing, you keep doing mistakes. Because that brings up your humility inside. It makes you humble. And the moment you are humble, you are back to the loving space inside you. Nature has prevented you to become very arrogant before by keeping this humility there and making you do mistakes. This is what I'm saying. So if you happen to do a mistake, immediately remember and surrender to the divine. That very moment you become again innocent and pure. Again and again surrendering like that brings you to the plateau of knowledge wherein mistakes stop happening. Simply it doesn't happen. You live from a state of awareness that is smooth and beautiful, full of light and wisdom.